Alright, this is Force 13 Live. We've got a very impromptu live event underway right now. There has been a significant earthquake to the south of Mindanao in the last 20 minutes now. It occurred at 3:39 UTC, local time in the Philippines. That would be 11:39 AM, just to the south of Mindanao, 125 miles southeast of Davao City, where a tsunami is possible in the next 2 minutes from this broadcast. Joining me now is Tim. We're both monitoring the situation as well as the system Usman that was named by the Philippines, the storm threat, which has been delivering huge amounts of rainfall all night and all of yesterday as well. Tim, have you got any information on this?
Not just yet. This is just breaking as you came on air. I believe the preliminary from the USGS has this as a 7.2 magnitude.
Yes.
I'm actually going to look at the USGS website to confirm that and see what warnings they have coming up on this.
Magnitude 7.2 earthquake. That occurred at a depth of, I think, 49 miles or kilometers. I can't remember which one it actually is. What you're looking at on the screen right now is the latest satellite imagery of Usman, and you can also see how the rainfall has been produced from the system as well in the last few hours. The earthquake has occurred further south, to the southeast of the picture. Let's see here. Somewhere in this area, I can't exactly pinpoint it, but somewhere around there is the earthquake epicenter, not too far from Davao on Mindanao. Some distance away from the storm itself, but this situation did call for an immediate broadcast, and we are doing so, at least for the time being, whilst we assess the situation and see where the threat lies. With regards to the storm, whilst Tim's getting up that information for us, it has delivered huge amounts of rain over the Philippines in the last 24-48 hours. Satellite estimates have put it well over 30 inches of rainfall, 600 millimeters or more, has occurred over there in the last, well, since the storm arrived in the last 48 hours. And you can see, we were talking about it on model runs for a very long time, how it was going to be a big blob, and that has remained the case very much as we've gone along.
Okay, Nathan, I hate to break in, but the U.S. Geological Survey has confirmed an adjusted magnitude of 6.9 on the Richter scale at location 5.92 degrees north, 126.80 degrees east at a depth of 59.8 kilometers. This puts it well off the southeast of the island. Yep. This puts it approximately, I want to say 60 miles, maybe 100 kilometers southwest of Malti. I'm actually going to do a quick screen share.
Now, if there is a tsunami, it would have passed through the Davao region in the last minute. It is also likely to reach, if there is a tsunami, we don't know yet or not, it would reach Tabakan Tengah in Indonesia in about 15 minutes' time.
I would say areas that are going to be under effect of any kind of tsunami at this stage would include Papua New Guinea, maybe the coastlines of Indonesia. If it makes it through the Celebes and Sulu Sea, maybe the coastline of Vietnam, obviously the Davao City area, and even the island of Palau. If it actually goes further out than that, you could be looking at the coastline of Japan, maybe the Solomon Islands, and if it goes far enough out, maybe the Hawaiian Islands all the way out in the Pacific. But that's a little speculative at this point, as the information is just slowly coming in now.
Yes, we have broken into, in fact, I was just finishing up here in the studio for the evening, and I thought it was necessary, given this update, what the situation is. So you can see on Tim's screen now where we're at, where the epicenter of that earthquake was. Magnitude, you're saying now 6.8?
6.9 as of the U.S. as the USGS, and if I'm a viewer in the Philippines, I could say just here in the United States, my heart goes out to you guys just for the simple fact you've got this natural disaster to the south of you, and you have Tropical Depression Usman that's been dropping inches upon inches of rain in the Suramar, Upper Luzon, and the Visayas region. So if I'm in this area, I would be in complete panic mode because you have disaster to the north and to the south of you, and if I'm the government, I don't know which one to really take more stock in and worry about more in this situation.
Yeah. So the potential impacts, we don't know of those impacts yet. A tsunami is a series of waves. The time between wave crests can vary from 5 minutes to an hour. The hazard may persist for many hours or longer after the initial wave. Just to mention, the threat for tsunamis only extends out roughly 300 kilometers of the earthquake epicenter, so any US possessions such as Guam or the western coast of the US will not be affected by this tsunami if there is one. We don't know whether there will be one or not. We've not heard any reports of anything yet. If you've got any messages for us, it's a critical time. If you do know anything about what's going on the ground, if anything, please let us know. We don't know the severity of this situation or not. It's just given the situation that we've got in the Philippines, if something has happened, then there is a massive effort that's going to have to be made in the Philippines to deal with 2 national disasters as opposed to one. Earlier the news came out that a landslide has killed 3, is what I was seeing earlier in as a consequence of the tropical depression.
Okay, I'm still looking on the U.S. GS service. I'm actually on tsunami.gov now, which is part of the NOAA National Weather Service, to see if there's anything coming up.
Yes, that's where I was reading off.
Let's see here. There is some information statements coming from Guam, American Samoa. Let me see if I can...
Nothing going on, yes.
Okay. Just trying to make sure we cover our bases. See, no tsunami threat for Guam and those territories. See Philippines. See if there's one for Indonesia.
Yeah.
Nothing's shown right now, but you're talking 300 miles out.
Kilometers.
300 kilometers. And I really don't have a Google Earth map to really mark any potential areas that would be there. I would think Taiwan might be within 300 kilometers, just off estimates. Taiwan, Vietnam.
No, I don't believe it will at all. No, 300 kilometers extends out not very far at all. As a matter of fact, only as far as. Not even to the northern tip of Mindanao, to be honest. So, 300 kilometers, a very short distance, only about halfway into Mindanao. So it's a very localized area that could be affected by a possible tsunami. It would have struck the Davao region around 6 minutes ago. Some locations in northern Indonesia there could be affected in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that the tsunami threat should be very much over. Gives you an idea of how quickly it's traveling as well. It's been 30 minutes since the tsunami occurred, and it's already made up something like 200 kilometers out of that 300, if not more.
Exactly, and I say and I know this is just something that we're all just processing because of how quick this came upon us, but 180 kilometers, I believe that would include the areas that is being affected by Tropical Depression Usman, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct for that estimate, Nathan?
For the most part, probably not. We look at
that might be a saving grace then for the Philippine government, hopefully.
We look back at the latest imagery, and as said, Mindanao not really getting any significant rainfall at this time. Let's just get the visible imagery up. We just came on the air about 10 minutes ago, so very impromptu because of this earthquake that occurred 31 minutes ago now to the southeast of Mindanao, in conjunction with this tropical disturbance over the Philippines that has been delivering huge amounts of rainfall. So we've been keeping people up to date on that as well. There's some visible imagery, actually quite clear down on the southern part of the Philippines. The weather's not looking too bad. If you've got any reports on the ground in the Mindanao region, please let us know. It's important at this moment in time, crucial as a matter of fact, in this early stage, just after this earthquake has occurred, in which we still don't know the apparent effects, if any.
Exactly. I'm trying to see. I'm still looking up the USGS website, see if they have any potential shake maps or anything like that. Nothing's shown as of yet. It does look like some reports are coming in off the YouTube chat. We appreciate you guys giving us these reports. Get this information in. If we're not seeing it, go ahead and hashtag put at Force 13 so it'll light up for myself and Nathan to see. Looks like some reports are coming in that there was some shakes felt as far north as Tacloban City. We appreciate that information.
Oh, sorry, I just terminated you briefly. Go on, continue.
Yeah, it's all right. See, we got David in here. Glad you could join us, David. But yeah, Nathan, some of the reports coming in off the YouTube chat. Again, we appreciate you guys giving us this information as it's coming in. If we're missing it, go ahead and do at Force 13 on the YouTube chat so it'll light up for us to see. But it looks like there are some reports coming in that was felt as far as Tacloban City, so that gives you a pretty good perspective of how far in this is.
Yeah, of course, it will have been felt some distance away, but we're talking about the main area of potential impacts will extend only around halfway up along Mindanao from south to north. The epicenter of the earthquake has occurred to the southeast of Mindanao, 125 miles, 200 kilometers away from Davao City, and just Tim's graphic there showing in real terms where that earthquake has occurred.
Again, for those viewers that are joining, this is Force 13 Live with breaking news. For a 6.9 magnitude earthquake, about 126 kilometers southeast of Davao City in the Philippines, at a depth of 59.8 kilometers. For those that are tracking, it was at 5.92 degrees north, 126.8 degrees east.
Yeah, those numbers have been revised. As a matter of fact, they revised the number down, but they've brought the earthquake closer to land in their. You know, they're still figuring out the numbers. So with those new numbers, I can give you some distance estimates from various population centers. So that new position has it 183 kilometers from Davao City. I mean, there's a lot of sparsely populated areas on Mindanao, apart from that main city and a few others nearby. Cagayan de Oro is 370 kilometers away. Surigao, 447 on the northern tip of Mindanao. There shouldn't be any effects there, but of course there may be some shaking and certainly people feeling it.
And a big emphasis I do want to make on this earthquake, Nathan, is similar to what we saw with the Alaska earthquake last month. Is granted, this is the initial earthquake that we just have witnessed. There will be some moderate aftershocks after this, so do not let your guard down if you're in and around this area.
David,
I'm on board.
Have you got any news for us? You're a little loud there.
Tsunami.
Take it down a bit.
Sorry, just catching up with it. I saw your communication, and I'm monitoring the Twitter platform. So it was possible hazardous tsunami within 300 kilometers an earthquake preliminary magnitude of 7.2 occurred, as you said, in Mindanao.
Mindanao, yes.
I haven't got that one. Yep. Philippines at 0339 UTC. Based on earthquake parameters, the tsunami waves are possible for the coastal regions within 300 kilometers of the epic center.
The threat to the Philippines will be decreasing by now from this potential tsunami. We've still not got that confirmed by anyone at this point. Have we heard anything on the ground from anyone in the chat? I mean, anyone who is in that area who may know information about what's happened, it would be invaluable to our coverage. Of course, we're not on the ground, so we've no idea.
Exactly. And for those viewers that are watching, if you can't get to us on YouTube, you do have our other outlets. I know David is hopefully monitoring the Facebook for Force 13, so if you need to get information to us there, it's Force 13 in text. We're also on Twitter at Force 13. If you can get information to us there, all these outlets are very valuable in getting this information out to you guys, so that way everybody knows that you're alive and well, and hopefully there's no casualties.
Yes, of course, given the double threat that we've received in the Philippines from not only this storm but the earthquake, and one or two computer models suggesting maybe another storm for the Philippines by the end of next week. That's not something we're going to be talking about in depth today, but that is something to consider for the new year. It's not a great end of year for the area, and we're still waiting to hear from a lot of information about what the rain has done over the central Visayas region into southern Luzon as well. Satellite estimates of over 600 millimeters of rain in some regions, particularly on the island of Samar, and also in southeastern Luzon, now getting huge amounts of rainfall as the models predicted.
And Nathan, I'm now live streaming on the Facebook page and the
welcome to
media.
Our Facebook viewers.
Yep, and the media over here are now running with it. The Australian Tsunami Warning Centre says there's no threat to Australia, but the key areas within 300 kilometres. And I'm going to check Indonesia because it could track over towards that country. Nathan?
Yes, parts of Indonesia may also be affected by this.
Okay, I'm doing a quick look over the National Weather Service NOAA U.S. Tsunami Warning System. According to what it's showing, there are no tsunami warnings advisories currently in and around the Mindanao, Philippines area, but that could be subject to change depending on the information that becomes more available.
Alright, so as is the case rather frustratingly, it's a lot of watching and waiting to see what information comes in next. I'm sure David's monitoring the wires very closely to see if there's any damage reports on the ground.
The National Weather Service, PTWC, the centre has forecast tsunami wave heights less than 30 centimetres, 1 foot, to the nearest coastlines from 7.2 magnitude earthquake, but is still waiting for sea level data from the closest gauges.
Right. So we're waiting on that. Yeah, frustrating that we have to wait when a situation like this calls. But you can see again the epicenter in relation to those land areas. You can see exactly where it has occurred, and it does worry me when a wave is coming into that gulf, how things might turn out. But we've got no concrete information at this stage.
Exactly, considering just based on just the map layout, Davao City looks to probably be a pretty heavy, densely populated area. And with the wave action coming in to this Gulf, it's going to be interesting to see how far it actually does spread in and how much inundation is going to be along the coastline and even on the island of Samal there, which is just really just a couple miles off the coast of Davao there itself.
And I can't access the Indonesian website. They've got that issue back again, so I'll monitor the Twitter platform.
Have we got any comments or questions that we may be able to answer?
Let me take a look real quick. Let's see here.
Well, I'm still getting a little bit organised here.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah, we are. This
yes, that's true. We weren't expecting this, but
I'll be honest with both you gentlemen. I was actually getting ready to turn into the night for the night, and I was doing my last rounds on the Force 13 Discord platforms, and all I see is Nathan say, "We need to go live. We just had an earthquake." I'm like, "Okay, crap. Okay, well, let me get ready."
Yes, actually, that's how I side of it. Okay, now I'm monitoring the chat and
not seeing any questions right now. But again, for the viewers both on Facebook and on YouTube, for YouTube it is at Force13. If you have any questions or any reports for us, it is all text Force13 on Facebook, where David is monitoring the chat and live streaming for us. Again, thank you, David, for providing that excellent service to the viewers and to the community here. And if you're able to get information to us on Twitter, it is at Force13, and we'll be hopefully checking that out for any information that you guys provide there to us.
You can also contact Force13 on Skype, all in text, and my personal account on Discord, Fool13, FOOL13, extension 9094. The information will be scrolling around for the next however many minutes we'll be here for today. We're just going to be here for the very initial stages whilst we wait to hear, or at least we can inform people on the threat that is currently ongoing for the, I expect, a small amount of time that the tsunami threat will remain with us, because most of it will have now transpired. The earthquake occurred at 11:39 a.m. local time. It's currently 12:23, and magnitude 6.9, as stated, roughly 190 kilometers from Davao City in the Philippines to the southeast of there. A tsunami threat to Mindanao, which will have now transpired. Whether it has happened or not, we're still awaiting evidence. And also a threat to the Indonesian islands further south. Out to 300 kilometers from the epicenter is the stated risk. So let me just point out places that excludes. If I could possibly find some locations that will relate to people.
I still have my map up there, Nathan, if you need to use it. I'm looking at this initial map, and it looks like it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like there's a bit of a purplish ring. That might be that 300-kilometer mark.
No, it's even further in than that. It's the second one in from that, the sort of pale blue ring.
Okay, that's the one I've got my cursor on.
That one, further in than that. No,
about right there?
In between the two, there's a very thin one.
Let me see if I can find it there. That way we can kind of... That one right there.
I think
it's very faint.
See your cursor. I think you've got the one. So that one to the south there, that is the extent of the tsunami risk.
Okay, it would be this one that goes up by Bhutan City, down by Cotabato City, and then out into the open waters.
That's pretty much the threshold for potential damage.
I know it's really hard to see on my screen, but that would be the 300-kilometer mark from where this just hit. Approximately, we're looking at what, about 35, 40 minutes now.
Well, the speed the wave would have been traveling, I would say the tsunami threat is probably just about over. Whether a tsunami has actually occurred or not, we still don't yet know.
Exactly.
Now, I'm just looking at the Picasa. Let's see what they're saying.
So there's a lot of bearing with us and the situation as to what the latest is, but it would appear that the main tsunami threat has now passed. Of course, the earthquake threat, the main earthquake threat has passed. Of course, there is a chance of aftershocks.
Exactly.
Which would typically be in the 4 or maybe 5 range.
And I'm looking at the, still looking at tsunami.gov to see if there's any alerts. There were a bunch of informational statements that were put in around Hawaii, American Samoa, Guam, and all that, but most of them stating that, hey, it happened and that there's no any further statements being shown for those areas. So pretty much in terms of extra information that I'm finding is 0 to none, yes. Which is a bit frustrating considering this is information that anybody living in the Philippines could really use.
Alright, well, there we are with the latest on that, and I'm not sure what else we can offer at this very moment. What you're looking at on the screen now is visible imagery of what is, or maybe was, didn't Pegasa downgrade it to a tropical low? I've not seen it for myself, but I heard that in the grapevine. That is Usman. Whether it is a
tropical depression, Nathan.
Still a tropical depression.
Yeah, tropical depression. Low pressure, formerly tropical depression.
Oh, yeah, so they have downgraded
so
it.
They have downgraded it.
Have they still the warnings in effect or not?
Warnings are still in place, Nathan. Quite a few flood warnings. Looks like signal 1.
Yep.
They're still in place.
Of course, this system, as we've spoken about on many of our recorded updates, is going to be much more of a rain threat, and it still continues. If satellite estimates are anything to go by, this storm, not even a storm, depression, is already the 8th wettest in the Philippines. If the satellite estimates are true. Now, we'll wait to see what the actual numbers are on the ground. Direct measurements are, of course, the best solution. But we're getting satellite estimates of at least 37 inches of rainfall in some areas. That's well over 600 millimeters of rain. You can see the areas that won't be affected on the satellite imagery as we zoom in here. I'm hoping we can without it crashing the system. Yes, so you can see Mindanao weather-wise, apart from the earthquake, is looking pretty clear. Bit further north there, the southern Visayas region, Leyte, Cebu, all look to be in the clear. I forget the name of the island on the left-hand side. It has escaped me. Samar still getting small amounts of rainfall by the looks of things, as the event appears to be mostly over there. Massive flare-up over Masbate in the southern part of Luzon, and over Mindoro. Significant amounts of rainfall probably on the way there at this time. And central and northern Luzon looks to be getting a huge amount of rain as well throughout the course of today, if the convection keeps up on this, because it is producing very large amounts of rain. If we look at these images here, these are how we're getting the satellite estimates. You can see the blob of convection quite clearly on the imagery there in southeastern Luzon. The black areas and the purple areas next to the black areas there denote areas that are receiving 2 inches of rainfall per hour or greater, according to the satellite. That's 50 millimeters per hour or greater in those areas. I must say the amount of convection and large amounts of rainfall has decreased since yesterday, but still huge amounts of rain are falling in some areas, which are becoming increasingly isolated. Have we got any more news?
Nothing as of yet.
Not at this point in time.
Where should we go from here then in that case?
I'm going to take one last sweep through, see if there's any other news that I can find on this.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Bureau to update some of the information on the developing tropical scene for the Southwest Pacific, Coral Sea, Solomon Island region, and a possible threat to Fiji next week.
Yes, anyone who does happen to be watching from Fiji right now, there could be a New Year's Eve storm.
And Nathan, whilst we continue to monitor for any information, the tropical cyclone outlook for the Coral Sea has been updated by the Bureau of Meteorology. The monsoon trough currently extends across far north Queensland, the northern Coral Sea. The monsoon trough is expected to develop further over the coming days while continuing to extend across this area. At 2 p.m. local time, a number of tropical lows were analysed along the monsoon trough, including one off the Peninsula case, another one south of Sudeste Island, Papua New Guinea, and a further one near the Solomon Islands.
I've got some breaking news that's coming from the Philippines in the last 6 minutes. From the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, they've issued a statement on the tsunami. They are expecting only minor sea level disturbances, such as strong currents and rapid rise and fall of sea waters. Apparently that's minor. The concerned public is advised to be on alert for unusual waves based on tsunami wave models and early tide gauge records of the tsunami in the Philippine Sea. Coastal areas in Philippine provinces fronting the Philippine Sea are expected to experience wave heights of less than 1 meter above the normal tide levels. The first tsunami waves will arrive between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. today and may not be the largest. These waves may continue for hours. People are advised to stay away from the beach and not to go to the coast fronting the Philippine Sea of the following provinces during this 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. time frame until the threat has passed. These locations: Compostela Valley, Davao del Norte, del Sur, Oriental and City, Sarangani, South Cotabato, Agusan del Norte and del Sur, and Surigao del Norte and del Sur. People whose houses are located very near the shoreline of these provinces are advised to move farther inland. Owners of boats in harbours, estuaries or shallow coastal water of the above-mentioned provinces should secure their boats and move away from the waterfront. Boats already at sea during this period 12 till 2 should stay offshore in deep waters until further advised. That's the information coming from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, expecting only minor sea level disturbances with a wave height of less than 1 meter. So that seems to confirm that the situation is not dire, and those who have friends in the Mindanao region, it looks as though it's not going to be a serious situation as long as common sense prevails along the coast.
Exactly, and what they're talking about 1 meter wave action is if the normal forecast was going to be, say, 2 to 4 foot waves, anticipate actually dealing with 5 to 7 foot waves out in these waters. That's what that extra 1 meter of tidal surge is going to be from that potential tsunami.
And
so
just as an aside there, the Philippines also giving it a estimate of a magnitude 7.1. So it's all around the 7 mark.
Mm-hmm.
That probably concludes our coverage for now. The main threat of the tsunami is passing, and till 2 p.m. they're advising to be cautious around the coast. They're not expecting anything major. Everywhere north of Mindanao is in the clear from the earthquake, and of course we'll be concentrating on Usman instead. Tim, David, it was great to have you here for this 35-minute breaking news update. Any final thoughts?
For now, stay safe up in the Luzon region with all this rain. If you're down in the Mindanao region, be safe there as well. Try to have a little bit of sense. Expect higher waves than what you normally would expect for this time of day. And any other information that we have available, you can always find it here on Force 13, or you can find it through your local government officials and media outlets.
Of course, you can find Force 13 on YouTube and on Facebook. Search Force 13 all in text. Those places are the main areas where we're doing our updates, and of course we'll have regular twittering on Twitter at Force 13 all in text as well. That concludes our coverage of this event. We wanted to make sure that everything was okay. It appears as though the situation isn't too serious, although it could be if common sense does not prevail on the coast. Follow the advice given by the authorities, as we've seen there, especially in those provinces in Mindanao. That's all from us for now. We'll have more updates another time. Stay safe out there. It's a crazy world. And have a good afternoon over there in the Philippines. Good night from here at Force 13 HQ. And for my correspondents Tim and David, thank you for joining me. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.